If the contexts in which information produced change over time, what happens to the languages in which that information is produced? That is to say, the languages that you and I speak today, were these languages the same thousands of years ago? Between 700 and 1750 CE, were these languages absolutely the same? Or did these languages undergo series of evolution? This lesson will be devoted to understanding how languages, along with communities, religions and other technological things, also undergo changes. Languages are also subject to evolution, and this is the focus of this lesson on Terminologies New and Old. When we take into account the terminologies new and old and how these have evolved over time, let us begin our discussion with the country India itself. The modern day nation state India was also referred to Hindustan at one point of time. From this emerges a very important question. From what does the word Hindustan emerge? It cannot be possible that people living in this subcontinent woke up one fine morning and chose to call this nation so. So here we will be trying to trace the origin of the word Hindustan and how it assumed different meanings at different times. So let us now begin this discussion. The term Hindustan's first usage could be traced to as early as the 13th century. And this word could be found in a book by the Persian historian Minhaj-i-Siraj. Now, while we talk about the first and the oldest usage of the term Hindustan, it is imperative on our part to understand what this term Hindustan referred to at that point of time. Now, before proceeding with this lesson, let me ask you a question. In whose book does the term Hindustan appear for the first time? Is it in the book of Barani, Amir Khusro, Minhaj-i-Siraj or Nasiri? Well, the correct answer is Minhaj-i-Siraj. It is in the book of this Persian historian that the term Hindustan appears for the first time. Now let us understand the context in which Minhaj-i-Siraj used the term Hindustan. By the term Hindustan, he referred to the areas of Punjab, Haryana and the lands that existed between the rivers Ganga and Yamuna. This map shows you the different areas, that is Punjab, Haryana and the lands between the rivers Ganga and Yamuna, and these were called or referred to as Hindustan by Minhaj-i-Siraj. Now, while we talk about the oldest usage of the term Hindustan, we have to keep a very important point in mind. The areas that were under the control of the Delhi Sultanate were referred to as Hindustan. Now, with time, these areas extended under different Delhi Sultans, but we should remember that Hindustan never included the southern part of the Indian subcontinent. It was restricted to including only the areas that were ruled by the Delhi Sultanate. Now, I am sure that you have heard the name of Amir Khusro. Well, Amir Khusro was a Persian court poet, theologian, scholar who lived during the rule of various Delhi Sultans. Now, Amir Khusro is often considered as the father of Urdu literature because he wrote a whole host of amazing poems in Urdu. And Amir Khusro was also called the voice of India or Tuti Hind, that means the parrot of India. Now you must be wondering why we suddenly started talking about Amir Khusro while we were discussing about the term Hindustan. Well, this is because Amir Khusro used the term Hindustan in a very different context. By the word Hind, he referred to the culture and the people who lived by the Indus River. While we talk about the people who lived by the Indus River, mention must be made of the Indus Valley Civilization. The Indus Valley Civilization is one of the most ancient civilizations of the world. It is around 5,000 years old. It spread over modern-day Pakistan and northwestern part of India. And the civilization flourished on the banks of river Indus. And by the term Hind, Amir Khusro referred to the people who lived by river Indus. So can you understand how the same word Hindustan, Hind were used by different people in very different contexts? We learnt about how Minhaj-e-Siraj referred to the places that were under the Delhi Sultanate as Hindustan. We also learnt about how Amir Khusro referred to the culture and the people living by the banks of river Indus as Hind. Now let us travel few centuries ahead, and here we come to the Mughal Emperor Babur. Babur, by using the term Hindustan, referred to the geography, fauna, culture of the inhabitants of the Indian subcontinent. So the very word Hindustan and the meaning or what it signified underwent evolution in so many phases. So these were the changes that occurred to the word Hindustan. In today's world, if we use the word Hindustan, we refer to the entire country of India. But previously, Hindustan did not include the entire country. Instead, Hindustan either included certain areas or it referred to the geography, fauna and culture of the inhabitants of the Indian subcontinent. Now, while we discuss the terminologies and how they evolved over time, we should also focus on certain words that came from the Persian language. While various invaders from West Asia invaded different parts of the Indian subcontinent and established their own kingdoms and dynasties there, Persian also made its entry into the Indian subcontinent, and with this the Persian vocabulary was also incorporated into many Indian languages. Now here let us now focus on the concept of a foreigner. In today's world, we mean a foreigner by a person who lives in a different country. Suppose you live in India and your friend lives in the United States of America. Now that person will be a foreigner to you because both of you live in different nations. But in medieval times, the word foreigner had a very different meaning. The concept of a stranger meant that any person who did not belong to the village or was not a part of that society or culture. So in today's world, we have proper geographical territories, we have neatly demarcated boundaries of the countries, and people who do not belong to the same country are considered foreigners. But in medieval times, any stranger who was not a part of the village culture was considered a foreigner. Now the concept of a foreigner was referred to by different words. In Hindi, the word Pardesi might be used to describe a foreigner, and at the same time in Persian the word Ajnabi means the same. So a foreigner is referred to as a Pardesi in Hindi and an Ajnabi in Persian. So now let me explain to you how not just words but the meanings associated with certain words also underwent phases of evolution. Now just a while ago we took into account the concept of a foreigner. The concept of a foreigner as we know it today is very different from what it meant in medieval times. Now in medieval times a forest dweller was foreigner to a city dweller, because just by the virtue of living in a forest, that person was a foreigner to a city dweller. But two peasants who lived in the same village but belonged to different caste and other social backgrounds will not be considered foreigners to each other, because they were a part of the same society, of the same culture of the village. So from this we can understand how words and meanings, systems of meaning underwent a series of changes and evolution. With this, we come to an end of our discussion. In this series of lessons, we have been trying to trace various changes that occurred in the period between 700 CE and 1750 CE. Now, in this series of lessons, we took into account a whole host of things. Firstly, we talked about the political and social structures and how these changed. Now, we learned that new empires and kingdoms were established, and with the establishment of these new empires and kingdoms, the communities evolved. The socio-political cultural landscape also changed. The geographical boundary of any empire or kingdom also evolved and changed in subsequent generations. And these in turn impacted the entire subcontinent as a whole. Now, within this socio-political cultural landscape is embedded religion, because religion does not exist beyond and outside the communities. Now, when these communities evolved, the religions that were rooted to those communities also evolved. Many new gods started being worshipped, many aspects of religions were altered and modified, and even new religions entered the subcontinent. Now, while we were trying to trace these changes, we saw how the subcontinent evolved over time on different fronts, be that social, political, cultural, economic. And all this together now made India a very lucrative prospect for trade. Now, India, with all its wealth and resources, along with the growing economies, now became very, very attractive for the European trading companies. These European trading companies initially came to India to trade here. And after establishing these European trading companies, they now went on to colonizing the land. But that was not the end of India, because the beauty of this nation lies in its cultural plurality, in its multi-ethnicity, in its resources, in its wealth. India gained independence from the European colonial powers. India gained its freedom and independence from the colonial powers, and it stands tall today. So with this, we come to an end of tracing the various changes that occurred over a period of 1,000 years. These lessons introduced us to various changes, to various kinds of technological, socio-political changes that in turn shaped the subcontinent and the country as we know it today. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.